and I want to have an approximately an 8-bar melody to get started with. The overall piece needs to be a minute long or 32 bars. So I just want to probably have 1 or 2 melodies of about 8 bars long. I'm going to start thinking about my melody and how I'm going to make it. So I want my first melody to be fairly relaxed. So I think I'm going to start with this rhythm, and maybe I might repeat it again and then perhaps use this one, and maybe then, because I don't want to get too busy, I might just put a semi-brief. So let's think back to my original ideas. I had some extra in those, I think, but there's no reason why I couldn't tie more. So that's not a bad idea. I've got a little idea. I've got a repeat of that idea. I've got something similar, and then I've got a finish off bit. So this is really quite nice. I might select the whole 8 bars and capture it and call it, my melody draft 1. So the next stage of this is to make some sort of shape. You want to start somewhere, finish somewhere. So I'm going to stay in C. And because this is the beginning of the piece, I think I'm going to start on middle C. And what I basically want to do is draw some sort of shape to come to a climax and then come down. You don't actually have to literally draw. I just did that in the review annotate so I could keep in mind what my shape might be going to be. So if I want my highest note to be around here, I could just move this to a C, maybe. And then I want to come down gradually. And at this point, don't care what the actual notes are. I know this sounds incredible, but we're going to use another plugin to choose the actual notes. So I'm going to start on C and finish on C. And I want to go up a bit to sort of a middle climax arrangement. So maybe as far as that could go up a bit. And at this stage, I'd be saving and making a version and just calling it rough melody shape so that I can double click and do transform scale. I'm in just the white notes of C major, but I think I'd like to play around with some alternatives. So how about I try whole tone? That's going to change lots of the notes. And this is the point where we start deciding. That sounds right, and it looks right because it's got F sharps, G sharps, and B flats. Okay, so I call this whole tone, and I have a listen to it, and then I could undo it back to Control Z, back to white notes, and transform scale again, and try the major pentatonic. Call this a new version, and just put C pentatonic. If you preferred to look at a previous version, you can go back and look at it. Or you can edit versions and go back and find the whole tone one which you like better and make that the current version. They're all saved in the version's history, so I'm just going to press escape. That'd be an okay first draft in terms of its shape and its notes and whatever. I would make a few tweaks in the final process, but it's playable. It is in whole tone. It's got a sort of mysterious flavour to it. So the next thing we really want is dynamics. And typically the dynamics follow the shape of the contour. So I'm going to go alpha 1 and put a crescendo in. So we're basically just following the shape of the melodic contour most of the time. And obviously if this was a violin part, I could think about bowings. So I'd probably put an S for slur and put that all in one, and then maybe down. So now we're getting a bit closer to what we want to do. We could do any number of other little twiddles at this stage, like maybe some little grace notes, just to sort of channel Nossienne a little bit, a couple of spots. And I might make this a new version, just make some notes on what it is, whole tones with dynamics and ornaments. I think I need to make the climax a little bit louder, and I think this opening C, I need to diminuendo down to have a greater sense of phrasing. So this is about a third of your assignment. It should take you about an hour. It takes me about 20 minutes because I know a little bit more about what I'm doing in Sibelius.